Hey Brad Squad, I am in the studio today learning some brand new dance moves from my girl, Soiree. She got her start on Asia's biggest dance reality show, Dance India Dance, and since then, she has danced all over the world and choreographed some of the top Bollywood films out of India. We are gonna talk to her today all about her immigration journey, and she's gonna teach me some super fly moves to make me look super fly. Let's start at the beginning. When did you start dancing?
I started formally training at the age of 6, and the reason I started dancing was because my mother really wanted to dance and she just didn't have the financial means to, so she's like, okay, well, this is what I'm gonna do with my daughters, like vicariously live through them. But eventually I knew that this is just what I was gonna do. Like no matter what I land up doing in life, it's gonna be related to dance. Like I just couldn't separate it.
You fall in love with dance. When do you decide to audition for the biggest dance reality show in Asia?
So I was constantly on TV competing, and Dance India Dance was a huge hit when it came. It provided a different way to look at dancers, because before Dance India Dance, everybody was like, dance is a hobby. It's not really going anywhere. My parents were very supportive and they were like, dance can be a career. So when DID came, or Dance India Dance came, that was like a big deal. And then Just Dance happened, which was another huge show in India. It was actually a global show. So they auditioned in 5 different countries, USA being one of them. And I made it to the top 7 of the show. So I had already, by that time, established my name in the dance circuit. And I had started working for DID as an assistant choreographer on other seasons. So when I was approached to audition for DID 4, I was already working on another DID season. So I was kind of in this conundrum because I was getting paid and I needed employment. But on the other hand, I was like, if I had let that pass, it would have been a regret. I was injured at the time, but got through.
You were really taking off. You had been choreographing for Bollywood movies. What in the world made you move to the United States?
The Indian culture, you pretty much like grow up with your parents, you get married, and then, you live with your husband. Those things are changing. That's how it was when I was growing up, because I grew up in a very traditional middle-class family, so we were raised at certain values. I was like, no, I have to be independent and I need to have my own life. That was always on the agenda, that at some point I'm gonna move to New York. But I think it solidified when I decided to do dance therapy. I started doing research and I found that at the time, only 6 schools in the entire USA that offer a master's in dance therapy. And one of them was in New York. It was in Brooklyn, Pratt Institute, and I was like, I want to go there. My second option was Chicago. I didn't get through. I was kind of disappointed, but I interviewed with my teacher and she liked me, and that's how I moved to New York for that very purpose, to get my master's in dance therapy.
Did you experience any culture shock when you actually moved here?
When I moved to New York, there's a lot of things that I didn't know. The first couple of months were horrible, and it required a lot of adjustment. I'm not gonna lie. Eventually, I got a hang of the city and I started enjoying the independence, and it went more from being lonely to being, okay, I'm an adult now. I moved on August 11, 2014.
So you moved in 2014 during a really politically fraught time. Things were really starting to heat up. The Trump campaign started to go into full force. Did that change anything in your perception of what America was?
The world has a certain image of the US. It's free, it's inviting, people from all colors, races, sexes can exist, and to some extent it's true. But there are huge pockets of the US where it's absolutely not true. And I had horrible experiences around the presidency itself. The day Trump got elected, I remember walking down the street and this guy, he tried to follow me, get close. A block away, he yelled across the block saying, marry me, I'll make you American. I did not feel as much of an outsider as much as I did that day, not even on my first day. You've just seen the color of my skin, and now you're just starting to make these assumptions. So around the presidency, definitely a lot of things changed, and a lot of weird stuff happened. But at the same time, I think it then motivated me to fight back.
I'm assuming that you took those experiences and worked them into your art. How did you do that?
In that particular situation that I was in when this guy yelled out to me was the fact that he had more control on my body than I did. I wanted more ownership on my body and my identity. I started exploring it in movement and in my classes, and I was like, I need to find a way that combines my passion for the Indian culture, that provides community, that provides support, that provides being for each other, with the independence that the American culture provides. And that's how I came up with the idea of Bollyheels, because it involves Bollywood and taking the confidence that heels brings to you. The moment you wear heels, like you want to do your hair, you want to put makeup on, it brings a certain amount of feeling in you. So I wanted to take those two things and combine it and create a dance class format fused with my dance therapy. Now we call it the Swarali dance movement.
What is dance therapy?
The dance therapy in the simplest form is the psychotherapeutic use of movement. What we do is you use your body as language versus using words. So that's like the most organic form of communication that has ever existed in humankind. We study your movement and your body language, which gives us information to what might be going on at the moment, how you might be feeling.
Now, you used to work with children on the autism spectrum.
Yes.
Tell me how you use dance therapy to help children on the autism spectrum.
So if you've met people on the autistic spectrum, most of them have very few words. All they have is movement. So for example, if you see a kid and he's angry and anxious and all he can do is hit his head, and he keeps doing that, and if you just keep saying, stop, it's not the solution. So now what we do is we take this movement and then we find ways to how you can channel it. That's what we do. We communicate with them in movement. Like, we understand why they're doing what they're doing. So this is causing anxiety. This is relieving anxiety.
Right.
The goal of relieving anxiety is still achieved, but the movement is not self-harming. You, me, people watching, everybody can benefit from dance therapy. We use it every day, whether we know it or not. And I feel like if dance therapy wasn't in my life, I would have probably left New York and went back to India.
When did you officially start Bollyheels, giving classes, touring with it, and what has the response been?
So we started Bollyheels in May of 2017. Our first class was in New York, and we just did a class to see what happens. And then we did another class, and the response was great. And then we did the third class, and we had gone from 20 people to 3 people. And then eventually we were like, let's do the class in LA. And slowly it started picking up. So in just 18 months, we landed up doing 70 workshops in 11 different cities in the US. We went to Toronto, we did a workshop there. We went to Australia, we did 5 cities in Australia. We went to New Zealand. Now I'm going to India. I'm visiting 7 cities, and I'm doing 4 workshops in each city. So 28 workshops altogether.
In 10 days.
In India. In 10 days. I'm so excited because, I was born and raised in India. A huge part of everything that I do reflects back on all of my upbringing. And now that I've come out and seen the world and learned something about it, I want to bring it back home. I have this moment here to live my life and be who I am and just enjoy dance for what it is. In San Francisco, this woman, she came up to me and she told me how after her second pregnancy, she didn't feel pretty. She felt like, she was just taking care of the kids. She came to this class and she's like, I feel great. I feel like me again. Like, I feel like I can do this. No matter how many students we get, we need to just keep doing it.
What is your immigration story?
My parents had to literally scrape things together. I myself started working at the age of 10, and I've been saving all my life to make this happen. This is for F1 student visa. Even though I was the highest ranker in my college, they don't qualify in the US, so you need to change your scores in the GPA system. The other thing I had to do was a TOEFL exam, which is an English speaking exam, which to me is ridiculous because USA is not the only colony that British had. India was one of them too. So guys, we learned English. I grew up speaking English. My point is, just for you to step into the US, there's all this extra money that you have to pay. Dance therapy is not as big as engineering or doctor. So I didn't get any scholarship. When I was in school, and I kid you not, I worked 8 jobs. I worked 4 or 5 jobs on campus. I worked 3 random jobs that my friends gave me. I was performing with Mystic India, so I was touring at the time, got my degree. Finally, I transitioned from my F1 visa to EAD.
Okay.
And on my EAD, I was allowed to work, but then again, your EAD is only applicable for 1 year. By then, I had already established a life in New York. I was already dating Nico at the time, who is my husband now, very seriously involved. And the only other option that I had was extraordinary talent visa. And then that visa you only get for 3 years. My husband then was very supportive. We decided the best way to move forward is for us to be married, because that is what we see for ourselves in the future. Once you get married, you get a PR resident card.
Right.
And then, so now I have that. So now after 3 years again, I have to invest X amount of money, give an interview, and then decide if I want to become a citizen, whatever I want to do. It's an extensive process, but it's possible.
Where do you see Bollyheels / the Soiree dance movement in 5 or 10 years?
Our goal in 5 or 10 years is to be able to travel to as many countries as possible, introducing our concept. That's just what we want to do, and we want to spread this message as fiercely as we can throughout the world.
What is your American dream?
My American dream will be to embrace this diversity and find ways to unify within the diversity with the medium of movement.
All right, Soiree. I think it's time for some moves.
Yes. All you're gonna do is like lift your hip and drop once. You go drop, 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 boom, boom. Perfect. Call.
Ooh, like a siren.
Ooh. In. Yeah. Ha, ah, 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 boom. Ha, ah, ah. Call. And boom. Thank you for watching me dance. I'll welcome you.
I get it. Like I get power that comes with this, and that comes with feeling your body and being very aware of your body. Thank you so much for showing me some moves, sharing so much of what you've been through. That was an absolutely fantastic insight. Brad Squad, to follow more of Soiree, make sure to follow her at Soiree Dance. And if she's coming to a city near you, make sure to check out a Bollyheels class, because this chick is gonna leave you feeling empowered. Until next time, Brad Squad, thanks.